Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang the bombs bursting in gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard.
Steve Morris.
How's it going, Steve?
Pretty good. How about you?
Feeling under the weather. Andrew got me sick.
You sick?
Yeah.
You're awfully close to me for being sick. I read an article that said that there might be some people that have some gene variants or, some mutation. Actually, it's not a variant, some mutation that prevents them from being COVID positive. Because they're saying there's people like people I know who have worked around and been coughed on, everything else, and never gotten sick.
Yeah, you haven't gotten it.
I haven't gotten it. Nikki hasn't gotten it. It's questionable whether or not Zeta had it.
I mean, I've never tested for it, but when my house all had it last Thanksgiving, I got sick like they did. So I'm sure I had it, but I wasn't going to waste a test to friggin', But, yeah, I don't know. I think, to me, it feels like a cold, but I kind of feel run down, too, so who knows? Which, I mean, COVID today is the same as a cold anyway, so, yeah.
As it's mutated and gotten weaker and weaker.
Yeah. Now it's monkeypox you have to be careful of.
Polio in New York City.
Polio in New York City. Yeah, I got an argument with someone on there once.
Racism in Martha's Vineyard.
Yes. Like, the hell? All these illegals come in here, but then they show up in your backyard and you're like, oh my God, we have to get rid of them.
They got rid of them in less than 48 hours.
Yeah.
Whether using the military or the National Guard.
Amazing, isn't it? Amazing.
And then they all like patted themselves on the back like they did something good and their lives were enriched over those 40 hours. You gotta be kidding me. I have family and friends down in Texas, so I have no sympathy. Granted, my stance on it is the governor should be sending them back, but at least they highlighted the hypocrisy of the white, rich, liberal Democrat of Martha's Vineyard.
Yep. Not all white, though.
No.
Obama has a place there.
Mostly.
He's mostly white.
So it was 80%, but he's biracial.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it just proves that.
If that means anything. You know what I mean? But
No. It just proves.
But I think I saw something that was like 80% white.
Oh, I'm sure.
Something like that.
I'm sure, yeah.
Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, so got married over the weekend.
The big news right there.
Yes. Yeah, it was a good day. The weather was perfect. Things didn't go as planned. If there was a plan, they didn't go as planned. But we were supposed to be there at 2:30, and the wedding starts at 3. And we showed up at 3 3:08
So
ish.
3:20-ish, because I think I was like 8 minutes behind you guys.
So, all right, so this is the run. This is how it went.
Classic Morris's, by the way.
Dragging us all into this whole thing. So I want to thank you and Nikki for letting us we get the guys get dressed up here in our studio above your garage, and then the girls get dressed in your house and, got ready and stuff. And it was a ton of fun. It really was. But I asked Andrew, I said, okay, because there was so much going on that morning, and I'm starting to kind of panic too, because like people are like, oh, you stressed? I'm like, I'm not stressed about getting married. This is my third marriage. Like, I'm not stressed about that. What I'm stressed about is when all of a sudden everything gets dumped on me, and if it doesn't get done, it's gonna come back on me. So she's like, all right, this food, this, and I'm like, because we did all our own food and stuff, and you did an amazing brisket for us. Thank you so much. That was really, really good.
I know I felt bad, but I babied that
Oh,
thing from 6 p.m. the night before until when we left. I wrapped it.
that was lights out. That was good, really good. So we go and I get here I think I was running late for that too, but I got here and I get ready, and then we can't find Devin's pants, tie, or suspenders, only a shirt. So then, like, everyone's mad at Devin. Well, Adriano's mad at Devin because I sent Adriano to go find it, and blah, blah, blah. So he finds some ties, he finds, I think, suspenders. Long story short, found Devin pants that Andrew didn't even notice. They were black and not the gray like ours were, but that's okay. So, get him back here, get dressed, everything. And at that point, Andrew's already ready, so she's going to leave. She's like, well, don't come out of the house or look out any windows, whatever. So, okay. So they all leave. And so come to find out about the pants situation, I got blamed for this, which is not. It's not my fault, because I asked the question, is everything where it's supposed to be? Like, yes, it's in Lydia's closet. Okay, cool. So, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Andrea's in our closet for some reason. Again, I don't know. My pants were hanging up in there. So the whole time I had Devin's pants. And he got blamed for it. And did she blame me? He says, it was my fault, the pants. And I'm like, no. I asked if everything was with it. I totally take no credit for this wedding. Like, and I said to everybody in my I don't know, the words they wrote to Andrea during the ceremony. Like I said, like, she literally put it all on. She designed it, like, it was beautiful. She did it all. And I'm like, it's not my fault. I asked. I don't know where this stuff was. Like, so that was one hiccup with it, And then kudos to your wife, because the other, well, two hiccups. A, the marriage license got left here. The rings were luckily with us, but which I, once again, had nothing to do with. She had that stuff. But somehow, in the course of being at your house, things got taken out of the box or something. I don't know.
It was kind of hectic in there. There were a lot. I didn't realize that many people were going to be here getting ready and getting dressed.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. And
me, Mr. Social Butterfly. I just sat out in front of the grill,
just stay out
adding
here.
one block of charcoal at a time, keeping it at 250 to 270. That's my whole goal.
So they forgot the marriage license, and they forgot
The bouquets.
all the bouquets, except for Andrea's.
That was good.
So that was good. She didn't forget that one. But your wife jumped in, and within like 2 minutes, made all the girls, just took flowers and stuff from our, the decor, and made all the girls little bouquets. And you would never know the difference. They look beautiful, and so.
Nikki's pretty
Huge
creative.
shout out on that one, because she just jumped in and like, boom, done. And
She cooked some good food, too. I felt bad as I was trying it all. I was like, I don't have anything for the guys.
She's cooking food for them?
Huh? Oh, she cooked like you didn't hear about that?
No.
Oh, man, she had scrambled eggs. I made bacon the night before. Perfectly made bacon, by the way, because usually she just throws it on a cookie sheet in the oven, and it gets too crispy.
Yeah.
So I did it 4 strips at a time, so it shriveled up just like it would be on a TV commercial. So the ladies had bacon. They had a French toast bake, which is really good. She took Texas toast, chopped it all up, put it in a baking dish, and soaked it into cinnamon and egg and whatever else. And it had like this, tastes like a cinnamon roll almost because of the way that the cinnamon and the sugar coagulated together as it cooked. The butter steamed off or whatever. It was so good. Biscuits, I mean, they were Grand's biscuits, Pillsbury, but she put on a whole thing. I saw all that, and I'm like, well, what about the guy? She's like, well, if there's anything left over, there was nothing left over. I think there might be one bottle of champagne left. She made mimosas for him. You got the short end of the stick. You got a good
Apparently.
17.5-pound brisket, though. That was my gift.
I didn't get the whole thing though. I wish I did because the guys brought that up. They brought a little plate up from up here, and they said, "Make sure Tim gets a piece." So I got a piece, and of course I'm getting dressed, and it's like greasy on my
Greasy.
hands. I'm like, I got two
Wipe it on
pieces of
Devin's
that.
shirt.
Right. And then at the party or at the ceremony, or not the ceremony, the reception, I got more, and no, it was so good. My pulled pork wasn't. Well, I didn't. Actually, Andrea made the pulled pork too, but because she stayed up late that, and like she got like 2 hours sleep that night or something. I don't know how she does it. Because if I get sleep like that, I don't feel good. I'm just like smoked. Somehow she pulled it off. Like I don't know, but so she actually did the pulled pork. I tried it that morning. It was really good. She did really good with it. And then trying to keep everything warm in the oven and
Well, that's why, like, mine came out, was wrapped
Perfect
up for like
timing.
an hour or two until we ate, and then I cut it and was
Yeah.
like serving it as I cut it.
So she put the container pulled pork on the smoker at like 180 just to keep it warm. Well, I went out there and I'm like, it's at 230. I'm like, this is like, oh crap, I take it off, and I'm like,
It's kind of like what we were talking about with mine. I was like, well, I can throw it in the oven, and you're like, I don't know if you want to do that.
mm-hmm.
And then she did that to the pulled pork.
So I put some chicken broth in it when it was hot, stuck it on. Because the biggest problem, especially pork, is once you get to the point where it's done. Like that's why if you cook pork, you really should use a thermometer. Once it's at 165, you need to pull it, because if it goes past, it dries out. It does. You can't. So it's very finicky. So pulled pork's a tough thing too. Like it has to be. If it gets too dry, it's horrible. Like,
Yeah.
and it wasn't bad. It didn't dry out too, but I put some chicken broth in it, and put the cover on it, which would help keep that moisture in there. And because I was like, oh no, because it was really good, And she was all stressing, like, where's the barbecue sauce? And all. I'm like, listen, at this point, don't worry about it. Let's get our food. Let's sit down and eat. Like none of that matters. So
Well, once the brisket, because I bought an untrimmed one, and so all I did really was I left almost all the fat on that was on it, because it was untrimmed, but I trimmed it so that most of that fat, if it didn't melt into it, that it would be able to just come off kind of easily. Like
Yeah.
I cut it I cut it all the way down.
right.
But anyway, I ended up wrapping the smaller end. I guess that would be the flat end of the
Yeah.
brisket. So I wrapped it at about 80, 85 degrees. And so I wrapped it to try to slow the cooking down. And then last time I made one, Artie had made a comment that my brisket was a little smoky. And so this time I stopped all smoke at 6 hours. So that smoke ring was developed the first 6 hours because it has a very nice smoke ring to it. And so you should have noticed it wasn't as smoky maybe as the last one.
Yeah, it wasn't-
I kind of like the smoke, but whenever I was like, hey, how is it? And then I got negative feedback.
It wasn't as smoky, but it had. Did you use the pepper flake? See that one? That's probably one of my favorite ones you do. That rub that you do.
Yeah.
Um,
So it had a
it
little
had
spice
good
to it,
flavor.
yeah.
It had a good.
And I
'Cause I-
basted it with a beer, with the pepper flakes and the garlic.
I get what he's saying, because you don't want, our
Yeah, you don't
barbecue
taste the mesquite.
connoisseurs here. Yeah, you don't want to really taste heavy smoke. You want to taste the flavor of that meat, so the meat and the spices and the, everything you've put on it. So I get that, and that one had a really, but the one you made that was real smoky was still really good.
I thought it was good too. Like that was one of
Yeah.
my better ones. At least, tenderness and I don't know. The smoke didn't bother me, but I took that and I was like, well, you know what? I'm not in Texas, and I've been to restaurants where they pretend that they're serving Texas style brisket, and it doesn't taste anything like mine.
No.
Which is I base mine off of, getting brisket sandwiches on the way to the horse and cattle auction with my pawpaw. So anyway, I worked that one. I think I told you before that I don't like wrapping it because I've done that and then it stalls a lot longer. But this time I waited till like 180. Like some people wrap it with parchment paper, they'll do the whole thing. But because I did an untrimmed one, and the temperature was a good 10 degrees different, even though I had the rear, the big end closer to the heat source. Anyway, I used all my, I think I did mesquite up by midnight.
No, it was so good. Like, yeah, making me hungry.
I thought it was good because even some of the guys who I think were like there, like with their wives that were helping out, were sneaking over there and getting some. So it must have smelled good.
It was good. It was really good.
I mean, not that you would have cared or Angie would have cared. But.
No, it was good. It was really good.
You have to sneak over here, man. Go get you some. But it was good though because the flat end sliced perfectly. It didn't fall apart. But then the larger end, where all that fat is, it kind of turned into like a pulled beef situation. So you had kind of like the best of both worlds, I think. I thought it was interesting because normally I don't like it to. You don't want it to pull apart like that,
Right?
But that with the flat not falling apart, but the rear end, it made it easier to serve and less fatty, I think.
Yeah. No, it was
Thank
good.
you, though. Just talking about my brisket. We should put a picture of it up.
Yeah, we got a picture. We'll put a picture up. Picture your brisket. I also want to show a picture of my beautiful wife.
Well, that's the most important thing. Put that up first, then
Yeah, then your
maybe show the
brisket.
brisket.
I don't know what my brother's doing over there.
I don't know why we're all looking down for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, she looked stunning when she came. I love this, like, kind of an old schooly retro kind of dress. Then she had this long veil. And so I kind of ruined part of it. Like, I don't know, just dawned on me, like, oh my goodness. This was the day of the wedding at, like, 10 o'clock in the morning, probably. I don't know. Maybe in 11. I'm like, and this is all in my head. I was like, I call my uncle and say, hey, Grandpa should bring his 54 Ford car down, and she should come in on that, because she said that we should come in on my Chevy truck. There's a fix. There's a vacuum hose or whatever. Seems to be better now. But anyways, so I'm like, so I call him up, and he's like, yeah, I can check with him. Then when in the house, I told Andrea, I'm like, hey, you should do this. And she's like, well, you kind of wrecked that surprise, because I planned on doing that anyways. I'm like, oops. Here I'm thinking, I thought I was like, hey, this is a great idea. We'll do it this way. And yeah, wow.
It was cool, though, seeing her pull up.
It was.
I love
awesome.
that just because my mom always told me the story of driving with Uncle Junior.
Yeah. I'm so happy for him to have that car. And I haven't been for a ride in it yet, so I got to soon, because the weather's starting to get crappy and, colder. I want to go for a ride in this car because, no, that was awesome. That made it perfect. It really did. It was a perfect day. And like I said, nothing ever goes perfect.
Yeah,
the
once you start executing the plan,
little
it all
things,
goes
and but honestly, it was just those little things. Like, so so Friday, as she prepped and did everything, here's our picture right here. This is the house together up on the slab. Guess who did that? That was me. And you and Amelia helped on the front piece.
I was just an apprentice. I was given direction.
So
Classic Army officer standing around watching.
all week, I've been telling Andrea, like, all right, message the guy because, we need to get it on the slab because I can't work on it until then. And, she messaged him. Might have been Monday of last week, or I almost thought it was like a couple days before that, And, yeah, let me check my schedule, get back to you. And, TikTok, nothing. So I'm like, I wonder if I can move that myself. And so that excavator in the picture, I rented because I got to put a well in and stuff. And my mini excavator won't dig, So I'm like, I wonder if that excavator will move that. And I tried to lift it, and it wouldn't even, it lifted up a couple, barely. I mean, it was just, way too heavy. So I was like, well, that's not going to work. So I have my old pump truck there, and Patton's put on this metal plate in the back, did this whole hitch setup. I mean, I spent a bunch of money in it, And then, of course, the pump went. I never towed anything with it. and I still have the truck. At one point, I went to sell it, just didn't happen for some reason. So it just sits there, you know. And I was like, huh. So I bring my loader up to see if I can lift it. Because I'm like, if I can lift that and get it on my pump truck. And so I go up. And the loader lifted it pretty not bad. And I was like, all right. Bring the pump truck up. Of course, it took a little bit of maneuvering to get it to go onto the pump truck. Because, of course, I can't see back there. I'm by myself, too, and I'm trying to hook to it. But I managed to hook to it and get this first piece. Actually, that happened on Thursday. I'm trying to back up the driveway, and I've, like, widened it and stuff. And there's a section in there that's all, I did it when it was a rainy day, and it still hasn't dried. So I'm like, what the hell? So Friday morning, I spent 3 hours. I cleaned out all that crap. I brought a bunch of dry stuff in with my dump truck, and I laid it out. So this first piece, on my first attempt, Friday, boom, went right up there. I was like, all right, good deal. So I get it on there kind of how I want it. I lift it off with the loader and just put it kind of where I want it. And then I go up with the excavator, this one, this yellow one here, this 307, hook a chain in the rear frame in the back and go to pull it over. And I'm like, holy crap, I like bent the frame, like pull it out.
I was wondering how that happened. I saw that.
I'm like, how the hell was that? Like, this is heavy duty stuff, right? Like, so I hook up near the axle and then grab it and pull it where I want it. So that one's good. So then I gonna move the other one. So that one I know had a flat tire on it, and the other tire was low. So the flat tire, get the compressor, and it had gone flat, and the bead came off. So it's not, a lot of times the tire would just go flat. You just put air in it, boom, boom, this come off the bead. So I'm like under it, trying to pull the tire, and then Lydia stopped. I'm having her help me shoot. You're like trying to get it, at least to get the air in it and to go back on, and I won't do it. I just won't do it. I'm like, what the hell? So I back it up a little bit, try to get the stem on the bottom. Maybe that'll do it. Try it again. Nothing. I back up like 30 feet towards the barn, roll that tire right off the rim. And it's the rear tire, too. So there's 3 axles. This is the outer part, rear one, which is going to be the lead one to go up through everything. So I was like, screw it. I start backing up. At this point, I call Corey. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Can you bring me a jack? And of course, the jack, I'm going to need like a 5-ton or something. And I could just steal a wheel off the other half of it and whatever. And I need tools. And
So we got the wrong size for you?
well, no, you would have been all right, I think. But so yeah, he can't do anything. He's busy. Which I'm like, what the hell? So Andrea sends you and Emilio up with stuff. And in the meantime, I'll wait for you guys. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just see what happens. First attempt, it rolls right up there on with no, just the rim. I'm like, all right, screw it. I mean, so you guys show up. It's up there, and we maneuver around. So we were just like, hey, the hell with it. If it's gonna work, why go through all this hassle changing the tire? So, and then I finally get it kind of where I want it, but the left side wheels aren't on the pad, and the truck won't go further anymore. I'm like, oh. So I get out, and you hear, psh. I'm like,
You were right on that sharp edge.
cut down another tire on the same side. Now I've got one tire that's actually round, and the other one doesn't have a tire at all, and the other one's flat as hell now. And crap, what am I gonna do? So we'll put the forks on the loader. We're able to lift it back up enough and slide it in where we needed it, and then manage to maneuver it and get it. So this is the picture. It's not together yet that I showed, but now it's pretty damn close. So now what I'll do is I'll jack up, I'll level the front, because that's the one that doesn't have a tire. And then if I need to pull the back closer, because it's on wheels, I should be able to hook a chain to it again and try to because I won't be just a little bit. So
Yeah, they're pretty close to each other.
yeah, hopefully I can get that tarp out of there. I should be able to. But then I looked up how they put these together, because I've never done it. I've never seen it. They have fancy little things that, they put the hitch on a slider, and then they put the wheels on a slide thing, and then just come along it together, like piece of cake. I don't have any of that good stuff. I have wheel dollies, but for a car, that's not going to hold the house. So, but that's this is done to the point that it's there now. Hopefully, between today and tomorrow, I can try to get some blocks and start working on it. And then
Because you still got to put down like hurricane straps and everything else too, right?
Yeah, I still got to do that, which I'm not so worried about that yet. So I just can't close it up until I do that. But it still has the straps on it from when they're unbolted from the last place. I just got to put the anchors into the concrete and then just have them look at it and say, yep, it's good. But once it's together, I actually can start working on it, which I desperately need to start cranking. So this silver crap you see here, that's the quote-unquote plywood that is here. And behind that is just the, like, that's it. There's the studs in the wall and whatever and the insulation. And it's cardboard. It's legit. It's 1/8 inch probably with that shiny silver stuff. That's it. Says on it structural cardboard. Yeah, cardboard, structural plywood. I'm like, that's not freaking plywood. That's crap. So on the front, we'd started to do some. We put OSB plywood on it, and I'll put Tyvek, which is just a thermal barrier. It's not, well, thermal, but it's a moisture barrier.
Like a wrap, like that's probably kind of.
Yeah, kind of like what you see there. But yep, it's white. You just put it underneath the siding and stuff, and it keeps, instead of using plastic, it's just a little better. So I'll do that, and then I'll side it. And right now, obviously, it looks like crap, but so my neighbors are probably, oh, it's this, shithole that just moved into town. But when it's done, it will look really good. But yeah, I just got to do it myself if I can do it. And luckily, it was that pump truck.
I have no patience. I mean, I know you got other stuff going on, but.
So Wednesday, they're supposed to pour the slab. So after the rain today, tomorrow, midday, I think it's supposed to rain in the morning tomorrow. Then when that's done, I'll go have to fix all the washing that I've had from last week and now. And then hopefully that gets poured and I can really start cranking here because I'm running out of freaking time, man. Yep. Yeah. So any of the sports games that were scheduled today have been canceled because of the weather. But this Saturday at the game, a football game versus Newfound at home, which is at 2 o'clock, the New Hampshire Tackles Hunger. So if you want to bring a canned item, peanut butter jelly, those kinds of things. See the Snack Shack's done?
Well, the last time I saw it, I saw that there wasn't much left to do up top.
They got the top done. They got the stairs on the side, the railings. It looks awesome. Hopefully at some point they'll paint it a different color. Well, honestly, at this point, at least the color that's there, it isn't totally different. It's just a T111 looking. But great job. Huge shout out to the maintenance staff at the high school that did that. Looks amazing.
Oh, it's nice.
And that would have cost a huge amount of money for the town, for the school district, the town, to, hire a company to do that. And so with donations from the Valleys and Stevens on the concrete and the concrete, all this donation stuff, we get that done for just a little bit of money out of the actual pocket of the school. So
yeah, I don't think it costs very much.
Not at all.
It makes it better so everybody can see the field from every angle. And
yep, and it's beautiful. The last day of that first game they had, I walked up there and checked it out, and they did a great job. It looks really good. Ron wanted to put windows in the front of it, but they priced it was gonna be like $1,500, and they're like, this is just not in the budget for what we're, So they just took the T111 and made it so that opens, just goes up, and then closes with it's perfect. So shout out to all those guys for making that happen and looking so great. And
yeah, appreciate it.
That staff has saved us huge money over the last couple of years doing stuff in-house, because if you do it in-house, it's way cheaper than hiring a company to do it, obviously. And so really huge shout out to those guys. I know David Scott, is it the other guy named David too, because they call him Froggy? I know.
I can't remember.
I heard the name Froggy.
Froggy.
I think, yeah. So David Childs, Scott, Keenan, and Froggy, because I don't know his real name, but those are the three that did the most on it, and I know Rodney was there for the project too in the beginning and stuff, and so real big shout out to you guys for making that happen, because it looks amazing with the new stands and all that. It's really coming together.
Very nice.
Looks really nice. So yeah, come out this Saturday, support the football team. They won over the weekend, so they're 2-0 at this point, and bring a can, go through your pantry. I'm sure you got something in there. For me, it's usually go through the pantry or something I don't like that somehow ended up in my house. I'm like, oh, it's charity. We have to get rid of these pinto beans or something, something. So, yeah, bring a can. come support the football team. And yeah, sip and paint. We talked about this last week. We'll talk about it a little bit this week too. But for Mike and Leslie Sampson to benefit them, Mike had a stroke and used to be on the fire department with me in Croydon, and he was chief for a little bit. And so on the 29th of September at 6 o'clock, which I believe was a Thursday, they're at the fire station. They're doing a sip and paint. If you've ever seen these, usually the ladies do it, but then now they get into doing like parties. So you have people coming over and couples and stuff, and they'll teach you how to paint. So like, here, we're going to paint this, and then somehow they all seem to end up looking like they're supposed to, and I haven't figured that out because I am not good at painting. So we should just do this to see if it really works, is what like they said, because I'm not good at drawing or painting really. So if mine comes out looking right, there's some sort of magic thing they're doing here, because
It's the wine.
it's the wine. There's special wine that makes it so you can paint well. But you have to RSVP, and it's $20 to paint. And if you just go on the Croydon News or whatever on Facebook, or reach out to Beth Polari, who was, I believe, the one putting it on, you can RSVP for this. And then they're doing a 50-50 drawing. And if you can't make it, you could just donate if you'd like by Leslie, it's PayPal, paypal.me/Barking Dog Farm. She does a dog rescue thing that she's done for years, and my alarm's going off that I don't need. So, yeah.
Time to wake up, 11:30.
No, that was an appointment. Another thing I saw, Baklava Blowout, Feed the Hungry 5K, Hungry 5K walk, Sunday, October 9th. It's St. All right, you say it so I don't mess it
I
up.
can't see that far.
It's Vasinos, Vasill.
St. Vasilios?
Vasilios. That sounds much better. Greek Orthodox Church, which is 45 Winter Street, Newport. So it's pre-registration's $25 or same-day registration's $30. And, yeah, it's supposed to benefit to Feed the Hunger. Actually, I have a little slide here. So the run starts at 10 o'clock on the 9th, and they're post-race Greek food, raffle prizes, age group prizes, and prize for overall male and female winners. First 50 people sign up get a free shirt that are 13 and over. And where's the benefits? There it is, up there, that's why. And this will benefit the Newport Area Association of Churches Food Pantry, which obviously this time of year, once you get into, Thanksgiving, Christmas season, those get told pretty good. So if it's something you're interested in, we want to do a 5K, you can run it, walk it, or even just donate. Check that out. And, yeah.
Baklava looks good on the bottom
Yes, it did. You like baklava?
of that. I do.
I do too. So the car wash that they were going to be doing at Circle K has been canceled. I don't know why. They just said canceled. So, and then school board meeting Thursday, 5 o'clock, Lou Thompson room. Yeah, farmers market as always, 3 to 6 on the Common. Only a few weeks left of that though.
I drove by. I didn't stop by. I drove by there Friday. Pretty busy.
A lot of stuff. I so happy. I went to the garden yesterday. I still have some tomatoes left, but majority of my tomatoes. I got another big container of them. Some had fallen on the ground. I gave those to the pigs, and 3 eggplant out there. I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
So I got that one plant that I saw that had that, and then the other one has 2 on it. And I picked those other squash because the plants were like smoked. I picked 2 pieces of corn, but the tops are starting to turn that dark color, like you'd said that they're probably ready. But man, they're not that big. But it didn't really.
So you gotta. So whenever the top is like almost all dead.
Yeah.
So like if there's any life left in that, because that's what feeds the kernels their moisture is. Like that's like the root for the corn kernels.
Okay.
Are those little
Yeah.
the silk or whatever. So if there's any silk alive, then that means it's still able to get nutrients to the corn or the
But
kernel.
once it's dark and it's not, that means I have to
Yeah.
pick it because it's not going to get any bigger.
Probably.
Okay. They're just small.
Based on my understanding, I'm sure there's a farmer out there that's like, "Nah, jackass, you leave it there for another 2 weeks, probably." But you can kind of feel too. So like on the two that I picked, I felt up, and it felt like all the kernels had filled in. Like it looked like it was ready to. There was no life left in the silk outside of the
Right.
husk, and so because sometimes, like you said, you can feel it, and there'll be 6 rows still that need to plump up, and you can kind of feel it. And if there's still silk out hanging out, then it should, as long as it gets water, gets enough rain, moisture.
Yeah, tomorrow after the rain, I'll check that out, see what's left. And
That could be an old wives' tale, but that's what I learned when I was researching corn last year.
a couple butternut squash. There's 2 that I'm concerned about because they're kind of like in the weeds a little bit or whatever. There's just moisture in there. I'm worried, like, I don't want them to rot. They haven't really gotten much bigger, so I don't know. But the 2 we put up on the pallet have gotten quite a bit bigger, so.
Maybe prop up those other 2.
Yeah.
How do the vines look on them? They still got some green in them?
Yeah, they still look okay.
Then they should still grow.
Dang, it ain't zucchini, though. Plant flower.
That's
look
weird that
good.
you didn't have zucchini. You had 5 or 6 that looked really good when I was watering it a month ago.
I don't see any pumpkins either.
I got 0
I mean,
pumpkins.
the vine went way out. I mean, it looks great, or looked great, and
It must be a nutrient missing or something. I must have the same thing because
something.
I have a lot of flowers but no pumpkins.
It's crazy how quick the tomato plants die. Like once it starts, like they were big. Because Edgar was up there and he'd help us move some stuff from the wedding yesterday, and he was going through the garden with me, and I gave him a bunch of tomatoes to take home. And excuse me, he said, "Oh, these must have been big." I'm like, "They were big."
Like
Yeah.
pushing the metal cage out of the ground.
Oh yeah, bent it over. I had to put 4 stakes around it and stuff, and it was pretty cool to get as much many tomatoes I got out of that out of 10 plants, and it's cool because you gotta come check them out, or you probably have some. There's some tomato plants in there that they've gotten big now. Finally, they're the ones I got for like 99 cents at Home Depot. So it looks like I don't know, reminds me of an old model. You know, I ever do models as a kid. You take them out of the plastic and you glue them together. They're cherry tomatoes, but they're like this, and they're in a row. And there's maybe 10 in a little clump or whatever. Those look fantastic. That is just started to kind of take off, and which is different than the other cherry tomatoes I have, which is more like a regular tomato where they're at. I don't know if these are like a vine. I don't know, but they're clumped right together. And they're in a little almost like a pod kind of thing. Those are really, that plant looks good, and that's just kind of really started. The rest of them kind of dying off. My other cherry tomatoes, the plants are toast, but
I meant to give y'all some. I'll have maybe before you leave, I can give you some of the, because Andrea didn't really like the flavor of her cherry tomatoes, the Sunkissed Gold or whatever, just to try them to see if that's what she likes. Because I don't know, I got like 10 or 12 yesterday.
yeah, you had some that were really good down there.
Yeah, so maybe take some if you'll not eat them all, because they're really good.
I gave her a hard time too. I'm like, so you're saying you like Steve's cherry tomatoes, you don't like mine? That's not what I'm saying.
Well, I got another batch, so when we get off the show here, I'm going to can. So I have 2 liters in the fridge. I need to boil back up, can those, and then I'll probably have another 2 liters that I'll need to blend and can, and then I'll have another batch to start.
Nice.
Like they're in the back of the lawnmower right now.
It smelled so good yesterday, or on Saturday when you.
No, it was yesterday.
It was yesterday, yeah. You'd open the lid on that. Oh, that smelled good.
Well, Andrea had said she needed it for chili, right?
Yeah.
And so as soon as I woke up yesterday and I saw that she never used it, I was like, oh, starting these up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Started
She
them
made it to the house
yesterday
somehow. I didn't even get any her chili because it actually looked. I mean, it's always good, but it looked a little different this time. It looked like it had more chunks of zucchini and stuff in it, which I like. Yeah, I never even got any of that, but no, that smells so good.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet because I'll wait till I blend it just to see. But yeah, it smells amazing.
That smell.
I'm gonna have another batch, and then I'll probably have one more batch after that at least. We'll have a good. You'll have some tomato sauce to make it through winter if nothing else. Water it down, eat it slowly.
Meme of the day. Whenever there's a big story in the media, look for the story they're trying to distract you from. That's pretty true.
Yeah, I've always operated like that.
Yeah. It's just like a magician, you know, like,
The sleight of hand.
yeah. You know, because you're always like, and I always want to know, too, like, all right, the magician, like, how do you do that? But then when they tell you it wrecks it, it, like, totally destroys it. I'm like, really? That's not magic. You know, magic's not necessarily real.
Yeah, it's just
but,
a sleight of hand. That's
but they're good, like, really good.
get you distracted just enough to.
Yeah. So that's what the media does all the time. Big story over here, and then, you know, what happens over here is, that's interesting. A couple little stories. Nothing, well, a couple things, I guess, but I thought this was interesting. I saw this the other day. A Canadian woman could not believe her eyes when she went to check on her backyard chickens and discovered that one of the birds had laid an incredibly rare, perfectly round egg. That's interesting. I don't know what I'd do if I found a perfectly round egg. Do you eat it? Or do you be like, whoa, look at this?
I don't know. Probably do what she did, which is, has anybody ever seen this before? And then look it up, and it'll probably tell you it's very rare to have it. And then, like, no, document it.
That's pretty cool.
But you have a rooster, so you could just leave it and let it get incubated, right? If
Imagine what an egg would. So a round egg, and then turns into a chicken. I wonder what would come out. Obviously chicken, but like you're the rarest chicken in the world. You're a round egg chicken.
so, yeah, I wonder how.
I don't know.
Interesting. So that's all you got? It's just it's rare, a rare occurrence. You got a picture of the round egg?
Yeah, but you know that's a pain in the butt to do.
Well,
no,
I mean, if we're talking about it.
sorry. Oh, here's a better picture. I'll put this one up instead. This is better. Now I gotta find this. I don't remember which one was on.
I typed in round egg. Perfectly round egg. Oh, yeah. There's images of it. Perfectly round chicken egg for sale on eBay. A true 1 in a billion. So they say it's 1 in a billion chance.
There it is. I knew it was here somewhere. Should have known you'd ask questions. Yeah, so Holly Brown found the surprising output sitting on the ground near the coop on her property. Initially suspected that the body was a simple ball that her dog had dropped. She picked it up and realized to my surprise it was an egg. And yeah, it was perfectly freaking round. That's about all the story is, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's
Interesting to see, yeah.
There was another story on here I wanted to tell people about, but I couldn't get the picture to save, so it's kind of pointless. And this is kind of goes back to you and your family, the alligator hunters. This, sorry, 2 seconds going here.
Did they get it with an arrow?
No,
Or arrow, as I say, but
no, not as good as this, but this Texas man, that's the first thing I was like, oh. Captures a man-eating dinosaur crocodile thought to be a myth. And look at that freaking thing.
how big is that?
It was 15
they're
foot.
in Africa.
Yes. So
okay.
yeah, so that was what threw me off. I'm like, oh, this is in Texas. It was a Texas story, but they went to Zimbabwe, Africa. They heard about this legendary croc. It was in a local pond, and I guess it took several days. They laid eyes on a 15-foot, 1,000-pound Nile crocodile, and they shot it. And I mean, this thing is a monster. You know, I guess it was eating sheep and, you know, all that kind of stuff in a village. And that's, I mean, really, it's a dinosaur, you know. I'll find a way to get that picture or find another picture because that's impressive. Now, the only thing that would make that more impressive is if it was one of the Morse out there and they shot it with an arrow and little kayak thingy, but.
I mean, that's only a foot thicker than that one was 14 feet and some change. The one that my cousin and his friends got.
What did that one
So-
weigh? Do you know?
I don't know if it was 1,000, 800 and something pounds. Kind of stands out, but
Pretty similar then. That's crazy. Like that's
yeah, it just makes me wonder about that picture of them, like because Scotty's was just as long. And I remember it having its head cocked to the side like that. Maybe that's just because they have it all the way straight on that one.
yeah, it's perfectly straight. This one he's got it, but the side one really shows the size of that. I was watching Lone Star Law last night, and they're trying to get, and I've seen it before because unfortunately there's so many reruns. I just like I've seen this one, but they're trying to get an alligator out of it's like I got a development, and there's in little storm pipes, and they're like pushing it through, and this little dog comes over. I'm like, I use that as bait, right? And then the alligator comes out. I'm like, you could have just sent the dog up there, and he could have grabbed it. And, I mean, the alligator was like this long. It was like a freaking baby. I'm like, really? And you know the crazy thing? I said to her cousin, Rika, I was like, hey, who's from Texas? She's from San Antonio. She's flying actually back out today. But I said, the crazy thing about alligators is they're kind of like Superman. Kryptonite, you bring it, like, Superman do anything, right? Kryptonite. That alligator, cut your car in half, chomp on it. But if you go just went on his jaws, you can't open them. It's like, it's true. It's crazy. Like, but yeah, that's a big boy right there.
Yeah, I would not want to be.
You got to be old too.
That makes me not want to get in natural waters where there's even a possibility that they can be in there.
That's like Lake Placid, kind of that that crazy crappy movie they made with the alligator. Yeah,
Betty White
that's right. Betty White was in it. She's feeding the cows to it. I forgot that. Yeah,
and her husband,
and her husband. Yeah,
allegedly. Unless you haven't seen it yet, no spoilers.
that's an old movie. If you haven't seen it by now, yeah, whatever.
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
She fed her husband to it.
So some bad news for New Orleans. New Orleans is now America's murder capital again, which it was until Hurricane Katrina, and I almost considered it almost seemed like a Sodom and Gomorrah kind of thing. Like, they went in and wiped out that part of the city, and whatever. I'm just talking like.
Yeah, I think it wiped out the entire city, if I recall.
All about the French Quarter. Very interesting.
Well, there could be many reasons for that. One of which could be like they actually designed it knowing that was a floodplain, and back in the old days when they did stuff.
Yeah, they built
a
the
lot
city below.
better.
Yes, yes. So, which I mean I love New Orleans. I've been there 2 or 3 times. Yeah. So as of September, New Orleans.
It's no New Orleans.
Not New Orleans. It's New Orleans.
Nolans.
Yes. So,
that's how I learned how to say it in the 5th grade. It's the only thing I knew about my teacher.
Your
I've said
teacher.
the story 1,000 times. The only personal thing I knew about her was that's where she was from.
Yeah, because I'll hear people be like, New Orleans. I'm like, no, it's New Orleans. Like,
well, that's how I spot people that whenever I meet them around the world, because Texans, we can always spot each other or hear each other. And, when I tell people where I'm from, it's a dead giveaway how they pronounce the town that's near me. If they pronounce it wrong, then I'm like, yeah, you're not really from around there.
Yep.
You know of it, but you're not from that area. You're probably from Dallas, and therefore you're, not even a Texan.
So as of September 11th, they've had 205 murders, and according to the Metropolitan Crime Commission, with 52 homicides per 100,000 residents, it's now the top city of murders, ahead of St. Louis as 45 homicides per 100,000. Third worst city is Baltimore with 40 per 100,000, and then Chicago 17 per 100,000. Which is funny because we always hear about Chicago, because every weekend there's shootings, but maybe they're just not as good of an aim in Chicago, so they shoot you, but you just injured, don't die. Maybe that's the difference. I don't know.
Maybe they spray and pray, whereas New Orleans, it's more. I don't know. It's bad wherever you live. I remember living in St. Louis, and that was in 2008 to 11, 12 time frame.
It's too bad though, because
there were definitely parts of town that you didn't want to be even on the train after a certain time at night, like Fridays, Saturdays.
it's too bad because like I said, before Katrina, I remember it was the murder capital of the country. And then after Katrina, it obviously hurt the city bad. They had to drop that. And then, what's it been?
A lot of
20
people
years?
were forced out. A lot of them moved to Texas.
Yep.
Came to Houston.
Yeah.
For the places that would open up their doors for the refugees, because there are churches down there in Houston that wouldn't open their doors up for the needy, the homeless.
Interesting.
Do you know who you are? Churches that wouldn't do that. Big famous churches.
You might as well just say it.
I think it was Joel Osteen.
Shitbag. Dude lives in a man. Yeah. Nah, we didn't go there. So don't let that deter you from going to New Orleans. 'Cause
Allegedly,
it's
I'm
beautiful.
sure there was some other reason that I don't want to get sued for, but that he didn't let him in.
Just throw in the allegedly.
Just keep myself safe.
Pound
I
his
mean,
ass outside
that
of the
was
pearly
what,
gates.
12, 13 years ago. It's hard to remember. Maybe longer than that.
It was during Bush. Was it 06?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
05. Well,
It was after 9/11, but it was.
I had a segment that went there, so I was a company commander. So it was 2005 or early 2006.
Yeah. No, it was a horrible. But you know what I'm saying? Like, reference on people like, oh my God, Tim just said that they should have wiped out the city. No, that's not what I said. It just reminded me because I remember it being the murder capital of the world. And then that flood came through. I'm like, it just kind of reminded me like Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible, like Sin City kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
But I've been in New
I don't
Orleans.
look at
I love
New
it.
Orleans as like a sin city.
No.
Like New Orleans, yeah, you can have a good time in the French Quarter. You got Mardi Gras.
it's, trust
But
me,
I don't. I've been to worse places, like in the sense of like
Oh,
Sin
I'd-
City type.
yeah, I would recommend anyone go there. I would go to New Orleans in a heartbeat. I love it. I think it's beautiful. French Quarter is beautiful. The atmosphere, the culture. You don't find it very many places. Like Florida, I love Florida, but it's not. It's not. No, Florida is the mixing pot of the country. It really is. There's no real culture, nothing. There's just beautiful beaches and whatever. But that's not Louisiana is very, the thick accents. The more north you go, the culture of.
Well, there were some places back, and I don't know if it's gotten better. I was stationed there. That was my first assignment. Was in Louisiana. There were still some parts there that were old school in the sense of, black people weren't allowed in certain places.
Really?
Yes.
That's not cool.
Yeah, and that was in the late 90s, early aughts, early 2000s.
I still
So,
think.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Now, I'm saying that to say that, like, don't think you go there and it's all happy. And it might be now. Maybe people have matured and whatever else, but there were. I mean,
Right.
Nikki even had some experiences heading into Texas, traveling with her black friends. So there's still bad spots out there.
There is. Doesn't matter where you go, and that's the thing. I find puzzling. The craziest times, like there are still places as a white person you don't go in this country, or as a black person you don't go in this country. I don't think those places should exist, but I'm not going to go there. There's just certain places you just don't go. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain places that cops won't go.
Yeah,
It's
not just with one car anyway.
Right. And we're not
Or
talking
one.
autonomous zones. We're
Yeah.
just talking areas that like Hell's Kitchen or these different. They have terms for them in their cities, but you just stay away from them. But anyways, I saw that. I thought it was unfortunate though because I love New Orleans and
Yeah, I mean, you just got to keep your head on a swivel wherever you go.
yeah,
Danger can lurk anywhere.
true story. So this next little story, never thought I'd talk about Kanye West on our show because I've never been a fan. He's done some things though before. I've been like, I like that.
Yeah, well, I don't talk about religion much, but like some of the things, I don't know. He had like a church.
He's weird.
I'm very suspect of organized religion, and that's not to say that I'm not a religious person by any means. You know me well enough to know that I've had my. I can only deal with hypocrisy so much, because you know what I'm saying. Like if you could try your best to keep hypocrisy out of anywhere, it would be a church. You would think, but then when you've dealt with preachers or administration, and the hypocrisy is.
Mm-hmm. No, I know.
Like, I need somebody that, because I'm bad enough on my own.
Yeah, there was this guy that I really liked growing up. Funny, like, and he said basically the reason the rapture hasn't happened is because you're not donating enough money or something like that. And I was like, I'm done with you.
Well, there was a place where I was stationed, and they knew how much you made in the military, and if you didn't give exactly 10%, then they would, like, excommunicate you from the church. I don't know, whatever. These were the stories anyway. And I have no, charity is charity. I understand there are scriptures written about that, but to me, I don't know. Well, at the same time, they were driving around with 10 different Cadillac Escalades with the name of the church with 1, 2, 3, 4. Each Escalade had a number at the end of the.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, to me, not opening your doors up for refugees whenever they're coming in, like, that's not very
Christian of you.
Yes. So I say all that to say that I am not saying I'm not religious. What I'm saying is I'm not a very.
Listen, my grandmother Beard, she, I don't know, last 10, 15 years of her life, she probably went to church a handful of times, but she was the most devoted Christian woman I knew. And like she already said, my relationship's between me and God, not a church, because she saw some of the stuff she didn't like. And so, no. But anyway, so Kanye goes, America first, cancels his Gap deal over a China connection, and we can bring industry back to America. And so that's what I thought was cool about it. He said
That's what was happening underneath Trump.
Mm-hmm.
This industry was moving back.
Yeah. But Trump bad, Kanye West had a dream, and his dream was to work with Gap and bring the best product possible to the masses. Products at $20 for the people, designed at the same level as top fashion houses in the world. Sadly, the dream won't become reality. Kanye is, saying, no, I'm not going to do this because you just make all your crap in China. So that's a positive Kanye story. Not that it makes me like him, really, but I still think that's anyone that actually steps up and says, you know what, this will take money from me, but I'm not doing it because I'm putting America first. That's important in my book. So what are you looking for?
I thought it might have been a hoax or something, so I was just looking it up to see if I could find it. Yeah, don't pay attention to me, man.
Did you hear? So I watched the Dallas Cowboys game last night, and then after the Cowboys game, Biden was on 60 Minutes, which I did not watch because I have no interest in
60 Minutes.
Or Biden, for that matter. But Biden says the COVID-19 pandemic is over. He's not sure if he'll run in 2024. But, so I wonder what they'll use for an excuse come November.
Well, they said, I looked that up this morning to see what the bureaucrats' response is, which is he wasn't talking for everybody.
Oh, he was just talking.
So he's the
rich
leader of the
elites.
free world. So he's talking about, from his perspective, but his perspective doesn't count. Is basically what I saw. So even though he basically said that all emergencies should be null and void, all EAUs or EUAs should be lifted, and life should return to normal based off of him saying that. But that's not going to happen.
That's funny.
I mean, it should happen if he's saying that, and he's saying that.
Should happen anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it should. 3 years, you're still under an emergency. Come on,
Craziness.
that must have been a hoax or something.
Adidas goat shoes.
Yeah, I saw something where Adidas was making shoes that were split at the toes, but they could have been some artist designer that did it.
Maybe.
But I got nothing for goats.
I got a goat.
Well, unless you're gonna eat them.
I'm gonna eat her either. She's just a good goat.
Hey, she's not hanging out with her friend anymore, so I kind of left her out on her own.
She hangs out with the pigs. She goes wherever.
I don't hardly ever see her with, is it Bella or Belle?
Bella.
I don't hardly ever see her with Bella anymore. And I like Bella.
I like Bella too, but man, we went to move them cows over there last week. And
She was charging it, y'all.
yeah, well, Andrea.
Andrea, yeah.
I think because she doesn't have enough interaction. So I was like, well, maybe we need to keep her with the cows for a while, even though they push her around, which...
Is it because she's a milk cow and they're not, so they can sense the...
I think it's just because she's younger and smaller. Well, she's taller, but she's smaller
She's getting
still.
bigger, though.
She's getting bigger. She won't get pushed around for too much longer, I wouldn't say, because...
I mean, even the way she's running at, even whenever I moved her, she kind of, when she hears that grain, she gets excited and wants
Yeah.
that out of your hand so she can eat it.
Yep.
But I was never worried about, you know what I mean? Like
No, but I was a little worried about Andrea over there. I wouldn't have been worried if I was in there. Just, I don't fear her. I mean, we just we use one of those white posts, plastic things.
Pop her on her rear end.
Yeah, we just hit her with it and don't get all like, oh my God, he beats his animal. No. A cow has like a way different pain tolerance than me and you.
When
No.
you say hit, you're not really
No.
hitting. You're getting their attention.
Yes.
So it'll be misunderstood by at least one person.
I'll let them. Screw them. They can come over and tell me how to be a farmer.
Yeah, I take the whip out there and...
I ain't even got one of them.
Really, I do.
Don't have a whip.
I watched my pawpaw teach a city slicker, how to use it one day in a feed store. It was like a impromptu, I mean, you talk about some cowboys at like 7 a.m. at the feed store in Tarkington Prairie. And my pawpaw put on a clinic for that city slicker, how to get the cattle to move depending on the flick of the... I mean, he sat there, it was like, he popped open a bag of food. It was like something out of a movie. It was just one of those awesome memories that I still pretend like I know how to use that whip. I'd probably have to put goggles on and maybe some earphones just to make sure I protect my ears and my eyes.
Was that his whip?
Yeah. That I have in there?
That's cool.
I think I gave my brother one when he took the saddle, because originally the saddle was my brother's, but he left it in my parents' garage hanging, and it's 110 degrees and humid down there. So after a few years, I took it out of their garage and put it on display, because I had that nice 1880s trunk that my grandmother had given me, so I had placed it on there. But anyway, his daughter is like number 3 in the country for ponies, and so
Still don't get this pony thing. Freaking thing's a horse, but okay.
It's big, but how
Big pony.
in the horse industry. But anyway, so she's
Yes.
like 3rd in the nation, based on anyway. Proud of her, but so because of their interest in horses, I'm like, you need to take this in case you ever get a horse to ride around with Abby Sue, my niece. So I gave him the saddle, and I think I gave him a whip with it. And of course, classic older brother fashion, I think I gave him the worst whip or whatever. Anyway, he got a good whip. So he has one, and I have one now.
Nice.
He's got the saddle, and I got the 12 gauge, which I need to get re-blued. I need to get somebody to, anybody works on?
My grandfather could do it.
I think it's got some rust. I mean, it's old. It's like from 1930,
He could do it.
or something.
He could do it.
Really? I should bring it over and let him look at it.
All right. Andrew sent me a better picture. I'll put that up. And there's a few pictures I'll grab. I'll stick at the end.
Yeah, do the brisket.
Brisket. Yeah.
Put that smoke ring out there for all the local vendors that are selling brisket sandwiches. Calling it Texas brisket.
Yeah, I've had brisket before.
I get it any time it's available just to see if I can, because I love brisket. You can find a good brisket, and I don't have to cook it for 20 hours or 16 hours, depending on the size and cut of it. But anyway.
Man, making me hungry. All right. On that note, yeah, thank you for watching. And, yeah, we will see you tomorrow if we don't see you around town. Have a good one.